Hi guys, I'm Kaylee White, and I'm going to talk about 3 different novels geared for teenage and young adult readers. My teenagers flaked on me, so it's just going to be me talking about these books today. But my first one is Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, and it is a sci-fi novel set in a dystopian world where everyone is viewed ugly when they are born, and then when they turn 16 they get these drastic cosmetic surgeries to turn them pretty. And once they're pretty, they're allowed into society where they just have fun and a good time. So what teenager wouldn't love to do that, to fix all their flaws and just go and have fun? This story follows Tally, our main character, and Tally is almost 16 and so excited to turn pretty. But her friend Shay is a little bit more reluctant. She doesn't know if she wants to have this surgery. She kind of likes herself the way she is, and so she runs away. And this is not a spoiler; it's on the back. It happens very quick in the story. But once Shay runs away, Tally is tasked with going and finding her and turning her in, or never turning pretty herself. The creators of this world, the people in charge, give her this ultimatum. So her friendship is tested, loyalty is tested, things like that. So as Tally goes out in this world, her views are very much broadened. She has been born into a society where this is normal. People are viewed ugly and then they are turned pretty, so that everyone can be the same and nobody's different, and they think that this is going to make everybody happier and everything. So, but we kind of start to see where things are not quite adding up and fitting in the story. This is actually a part of a series. There's 4 books in this series, and it kind of just shows how Tally is coming of age kind of story. She's tested in her friendships. She's going against society and like learning things for herself kind of in this novel. It's a really, really good read. I actually read it whenever I was in middle school, but a lot of the things still apply to teenagers nowadays. It's a very good story. I would recommend it to teenagers who kind of have that mentality of, man, if I only was a little bit prettier, my life would be so much better. And then this story be kind of, again, I won't spoil, but it goes and kind of follows her journey of finding herself and what she truly wants. But a great read. The second one that I'm going to talk about is Scythe. It's by Neil Shusterman. I always have trouble saying his name. It's another sci-fi novel that is in a dystopian world, but in this one the AI has taken over and kind of morphed the cloud into the Thunderhead, and the Thunderhead is all-knowing and is an algorithm where it can solve any problem. So nowadays we kind of are scared of AI taking over and things like that. That's something that we can relate to. But in this novel, it's kind of a good thing because it solved world hunger, corruption in politics, and all the things like that. Especially it has solved problems for your mortality and things like that. So humans are able to live forever because they can just reset. It's called turning the corner, and they can just reset back to like their 20s, and their whole body just changes back to that. And so people are starting to live. I mean, they're eventually going to live forever. This story is in towards the beginning of that world, but that comes with overpopulation. So that's where the scythes come in, and the scythes are tasked with gleaning some people. Gleaning is another word for killing. They call it gleaning in the story, and they're killing these people based on an algorithm, not by the Thunderhead. The Thunderhead is not over the scythes because they think that humans still need to be the ones to make the decision of who needs to be gleaned. Everything else is governed by the Thunderhead, minus the scythes. So the scythes have this algorithm that they work out, and then they go out and they do their gleanings. And they are people who do not want to do this job, really. They're of high moral standards, and they do not enjoy taking life and things like that. And the story is following along with 2 teenagers who are being apprentices to become a scythe that they do not want to be, and they're fighting against each other who become this scythe that they don't want to be. And so it's kind of an interesting story. again, the Scythes are not governed by the Thunderhead, and so we kind of see that corruption leaking into there a bit. But really, really great read. I would recommend this for... I really think the boys will love this one. I think girls will... I really enjoyed it. I think girls will really love it too, but I really think boys will love it because there's not a whole bunch of like lovey-dovey in it. It does have a little bit of romance, but that is not the main story going on in this novel. So I really think the boys would love this one. Again, teenage girls will love it too, but I really think the boys, it would be one that if you're having trouble getting a boy to read, that would be a good pick. The last one I'm going to talk about is The Wednesday Wars. It's by Gary Smith. This one is based in the 1960s, and it follows Holling, the main character, who he thinks his teacher hates him. He's entering 7th grade. The story is broken up into the different months of his 7th grade year, but he goes in and he thinks that his 7th grade teacher, Mrs. Baker, hates his guts. And so that's kind of can be relating to some who think their teacher doesn't like him very much. He doesn't have really a reason. He just thinks she doesn't like him. But really, she's kind of inconvenienced because on Wednesdays, their town is kind of broken up into 2 different churches. And so half go to a different church program after school and the other half go to this other church. But he is a different denomination. So he is stuck at school with Mrs. Baker, and she's kind of inconvenienced by it at first, but I won't spoil anything. But he has to stay on Wednesdays, and at first she kind of has him doing different tasks, but eventually they start doing Shakespeare and relating it to life lessons. We see Holling grow throughout his 7th grade year, and his relationships change. It's very much relatable. I really think that the reluctant reader would enjoy this one because it has a lot of things that people can relate to, especially for boys. His dad has a lot of pressure on him. His dad is an architect, has his own business, and is very much into what he does. Holling does is reflecting back on him and his family and his business. So the dad has a lot of pressure on him to make good choices at school and act right and make sure people are liking him. But Holling is just kind of mediocre. He's not exceptional, but he's not the worst either. But he kind of wants to be his own person, and so that's kind of the story, is him becoming his own person and finding himself. There's some heartbreak in it, but that's not the main story in this novel. So I really think the reluctant boys that are reluctant to read would enjoy this, but also teenage girls would. I enjoyed reading it as an adult. It was a very well written book. But I do think that that's my nephew was going to be a part of my audience, and he's a reluctant reader, so that's why I kind of geared my books towards that. But it's a very good read. I hope you enjoyed my book talk. All 3 I would give full recommendation to any teenager. I hope you enjoyed, though. Thank you. See you next time.